From coast to coast and around the world, this is Kaleidoscope, America's most exciting radio magazine. Stay tuned for more.
Announcing the arrival of Silk Air Flight number 222, arriving from Paris, Brussels, Frankfurt, Lodz, and Schnitzberg. Signal goes to 333 Zalcomal Parish, Brussels Flowers,
Hello and welcome to the show. I am Maverick Max and I'll be your pilot of the airwaves for the next 30 minutes. And on this flight, we have a very special guest. I had the honor of meeting Trae Crowder on his tour, together with two other brilliant comedians, Corey Ryan Forrester and Drew Morgan. It was a total amazing experience. This is humor like I've never, ever experienced before. I found myself laughing so much my insides were turning inside out and my smiling muscles just got stuck. It was that good. It was that funny. And for those of you who do not know who the comedian Trae Crowder is, he is a liberal redneck. Before we start the interview, we're going to take you to one of his YouTube comedy bits. This is about transgender bathrooms.
What's up, y'all? Liberal redneck here. We gonna do it again. Fired up, son. I've been seeing all these Facebook posts about transgender bathrooms. Well, hell, what's to stop some pervert from wrapping a skirt around his wiener and going in the ladies' room with my baby girl? I ain't having that. We gotta watch out for the kids. Meanwhile, these are the same motherfuckers that put Mountain Dew in sippy cups and beat a 6-year-old with a wire hanger for standing in front of the TV during Dr. Oz. Y'all are so full of shit. What do you think is gonna happen? You do know that transgender people have existed forever, right? What bathrooms you think they've been using? And how many times you ever hear about what you're worried about happening? Hardly not, never. Because even people that are child molesters are not going to prey on a kid in broad daylight, in public, especially not with their mouth-breathing troglodyte daddy 12 feet outside the door just dying to punch something different. It don't make no sense. And what about little boys? The vast majority of people that prey on little boys are adult males. This law don't affect them one way or the other. So unless you're also suggesting that we have separate bathrooms for Catholic priests, I think you need to cut the shit and say what you mean. You're freaked out. The thought of a man wanting to be a woman disgusts you. Because like most things that disgust you, you lack the capacity to understand it. You know, homos, algebra, shit like that. And y'all ain't gonna change. I realize that now. But that's okay. Because the rest of us are trying to ensure that the next generation, you know, your kids, grow up in a world that's a little more open-minded. And that's happening whether you like it or not. I saw this video of this lady in Target with a Bible, you know, just strolling through sporting goods hollering about the devil raping babies. We've all been there. And the whole time she's trailing behind her a goodly portion of her 12 kids. Now, honestly, I can't even blame that lady for being crazier than Michelle Bachmann on bath salts. 12? Fake, Lord have mercy, that's a lot of trailer babies. But these people have about lost their damn minds because they think that their rights and their beliefs are being threatened. They say, well, I'm just standing up for what I believe. Does that make me a bigot? Well, if what you believe is a bunch of wacky bigoty shit, then yeah, it totally does. Look, we all know that you believe these things. We know that you believe it with all of your pre-diabetic hearts. But believing something super hard don't make it any less wrong. My 3-year-old believes that he should get cookies for breakfast every morning. That don't matter to me because he don't know facts, and so what he believes is irrelevant. You can't expect people to respect your beliefs when your beliefs are so completely disrespectful. Which brings me to your rights. Y'all scream, oh, liberals, they care so much about everybody's rights. Well, what about me? Ain't I got rights? Oh, honey, bless your heart. Nobody's trying to take your rights. We're just trying to keep you from doing that to other people. Because I know you're a white person in America, so I can see why you'd think this, but telling other people how to live is actually not a right you have. In fact, if you want to live in a country in which the religious beliefs of the majority dictates the lives and liberties of everybody else, I recommend you try Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, somewhere like that. And I know what you're thinking, oh, they're brown, gross, but check it out. They love screaming, they hate books, they throw rocks at queers, you fit right in. But this country belongs to us now. You are not getting it back. And you can believe that. Bye.
We're here today with Trae Crowder, and I'd like to welcome you to the show.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
What made you want to become a comedian to begin with?
Chris Rock. His special Bigger and Blacker in 1998. I was 12 years old. I watched it on HBO with my dad. That was the first time that I ever thought that I'd like to be a comedian. And then I just wanted to be a comedian for the next 12 years. And when I was 24, I actually finally said, time to quit, thinking about it and just do it. So that's when I actually started. But I had wanted to do it for a long time before that.
So was sort of a childhood dream come true?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call it a dream come true for the first 6 years of doing it. But, now, yes, quite literally. So, it's pretty awesome.
What actually opened your eyes? When did you become politically interested and all the other controversial subjects you bring up?
Well, growing up in rural Tennessee, a very redneck town that I grew up in, I was surrounded by the types of people that you see like screaming at Trump rallies and stuff like that my whole life. And so, I don't know, I'd say teenage years probably is when I really started paying attention to the kind of things they were saying, and they had just always kind of bothered me. And so I felt like I got interested in it in that I was like disgusted by a lot of the things I would hear people say where I grew up. And so it was just a very natural thing, I guess. You know what I mean? I didn't make like a conscious decision to be, into politics or whatever. It was just, I couldn't take them anymore. Yeah.
So getting into it at a young age, how did that affect your high school years?
Well, my buddies learned pretty quickly to just, and it's still this way with a lot of them, to just like not talk to me about that stuff, which was fine with me. I was fine with just not talking about it. I didn't run around just screaming at people about what I thought or nothing. As long as they wanted to be quiet about it, I was fine with that too. So, it didn't really, my high school years were fine. I didn't really get bullied or nothing like that. I mean, I was like, everybody wanted to cheat off my math homework or whatever. So, they were pretty nice to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't that bad.
How does your family react to your humor?
Well, there again, and I mean, I'm lucky in this way in that my family's not probably what people would imagine. Because my dad passed away a few years ago, but he was a liberal redneck himself, and his brother is gay, which I think is why has a lot to do with it. And that's my uncle, and we're real close. So I attribute a lot of my political leanings to that too. But so like his mom, my meemaw, and my sister, and we're all kind of on board in that way. And there's a lot of members on my mom's side of the family who are more stereotypical rednecks or whatever, but I don't really have a whole lot to do with my mom's side of the family much anymore anyway, so I don't really have to deal with it. But like my in-laws, my wife's family, they're probably what you have in mind. They're like a Duck Dynasty crowd. And so they're not crazy about the stuff I say, but I mean, they're still happy for me and the success I'm having lately, but they don't agree with any of it. But I mean, I don't. That's my in-laws, so I don't really care.
So I understand that you've written a book together with a few other authors.
Yeah. There's two guys sitting in here right now, Ryan Forster and Drew Morgan. They're fellow liberal Southern comedians, and we wrote a book, The Liberal Redneck Manifesto, Dragging Dixie Out of the Dark. It comes out October 4th, and it's available for pre-order up until then, but for each of us, it's our first book, so we're pretty excited about it.
And we're going to take you from the interview for a few minutes to hear another one of his bits. This is about when the Tennessee State Congress named the Holy Bible the state book.
What's up, man? Liberal Redneck here. Look, I'm a born and raised Tennessean, and we've been in the news a lot lately for a lot of reasons, but one of them is that our state legislature has officially passed a bill designating the Holy Bible as the state book of Tennessee. And now my redneck buddies going on Facebook there talking about how, oh, damn right, ought to be every state's book. Ought to be the official book of this country, by God. Are you shitting me? I got one question. Since when do rednecks give a shit about books? Do y'all have any idea how much I got made fun of growing up for reading? A lot. Just so much. And now young'uns want to talk about books. Well, young'uns don't get a goddamn book. What's this country coming to? Open your eyes, America. Can't you see? Can't you see that we need the Lord Jesus Christ now less than we ever have before? I don't know if y'all heard, but we know what germs are now. The sun, we figured it out. We don't need that shit. I'm a daddy, man. I got 2 little boys. I tell you right now, somebody comes proselytizing that nonsensical, regressive Jesus shit to them, they gonna have trouble out of me. You can believe that. And if it offends anybody, I don't really give a damn. So I'm tired of not being able to stand up for what I believe down here in the South, man. Whatever happened to free speech? Look, if y'all want to name the Bible the official state tip to leave at Cracker Barrel on Sunday, or the official state object to throw at a queer's head, fine. But don't act like young'uns read. Young'uns don't read.
So, in your mind, would you ever consider running in this election?
Well, you say this election, do you mean like literally the president election? I don't know. I've never wanted to run for office or anything. I'd rather just yell at the people who are doing it and make fun of them. That's more where my interests lie, at least for now. I don't know. I've never really thought about that, and people have asked me that lately, usually jokingly or whatever. But yeah, I would not say that's an interest of mine. I'd rather be the court jester guy instead of that. So probably not.
If you imagine how the world would look if Trump wins the election, what is the kind of world you see?
Not good. And this is not hyperbole. I'm sincerely terrified of that happening. I don't think it will. I really don't. Gun to my head, I think Hillary will win. But if he won, I don't know. I don't even want to think about what it would be like. A lot of people have said to me and to us before, it's as a comedian, you should want Trump to win because that's better for your career, because he's so ridiculous and always saying things that you make fun of or whatever. But I'm just like, man, I've got kids. To hell with the jokes, I just want America to be okay, and that I just cannot imagine that would end well for us in literally any arena. Foreign policy, the economy, anything, so let's just hope that don't happen.
Alright, can't stand Donald Trump. Hope he dies in a tragic hairspray accident. But I'm starting to worry about how quickly people on the left are to dismiss him and his legion of misspelled sign-toting fans. And look, y'all, I've been confused by it too. Because for literally my whole life, this dude has been the Quentin Tarantino of being a rich douche. He has truly revolutionized the form. So when I see poor voters come out in droves for this guy in places like my hometown, where the unemployment rate's been double digits for 20 years and you're considered a rich kid if your daddy carried the mail, it blows me away. And when the rest of liberal America's asked to explain it, they just go, well, they're a bunch of ignorant bigots. Trump's the king bigot. Who wants kombucha? Well, it ain't that simple, Tristan. Take my hometown, for example. For decades, the center of the town's economy was a large clothing factory, and in the mid-90s after NAFTA, it made like a stoner at midnight and went south of the border, and we never recovered. I'm not trying to start a debate on the merits of free trade. What I'm saying is, when that melted candle ass stands up there and tells these people that he's going to bring their job back to this country and make Mexico lick his shriveled orange ball sack, it resonates with them. And you might be thinking, well, Bernie's anti-free trade, won't they support him? Well, because they're a bunch of ignorant bigots and Trump's the king bigot. But the job thing's important too. And look, they're wrong. Of course they're wrong. He's full of shit and a hypocrite. He's been having his line of tacky-ass ties made by Chinese 7-year-olds for years. But y'all, Right-wingers are not about to start letting some trivial shit like facts get in the way of how they feel about stuff. That's kind of their whole thing. So the fact that he ain't gonna do nothing about it is irrelevant. And all I'm saying is we got a classic trap game on our hands, okay? So if you get complacent and sit your ass on the couch come November, then we're all gonna be getting what you deserve. So you need to run that burn under a cold tap and saddle back up, baby, because we ain't out the woods yet.
Hi, this is Dirty Diana. I'll make your wildest dreams come true for just $3.95 a minute. Hello, this is Madam Diana's psychic hotline. Di here, odds on rainy Sunday in a second, 3-1.
Need extra cash? Log on to www.gotajob.com and apply for 10 jobs in 10 seconds. For employees, call 1-800-GOT-A-JOB.
Ooh, I'm wearing a lace teddy. What are you wearing?
My Sunday dress and an apron.
Grandma?
Gotajob.com. Part-time, full-time, in no time.
Dude, have you ever heard of High Times Magazine?
Sure, dude, it's the best.
Well, High Times is having a radical 25th anniversary party.
No way, can I go?
Maybe. They're having a contest. All you have to do is go to their website, www.hightimes.com, and you can find out how you can win a trip to New York to party with the High Times crew.
Wow, High Times? How can this ad even be on the radio?
Dude, I don't know.
Void where prohibited, which may be practically everywhere, no purchase necessary. However, we feel it would be a splendid idea to buy High Times Magazine regardless. Must be 18 years of age or older and a citizen of the planet.
Welcome to your new job, young man.
Thanks, boss. So, when do I get to choose my new office?
Choose? What do you mean, choose?
I'm looking for something in a corner window office, maybe facing the park.
Yet another person spoiled forever by Autotrader.com, the biggest, best used car site on the planet. After he found just the used car he was looking for from the huge selection at Autotrader.com, he expects to get choices like that all the time.
Hey, this one's nice.
I'll say it is. That's my office.
Perfect.
Autotrader.com. Your car is waiting.
This is what sex is like in an ordinary condom. This is what sex is like in a new Durex condom. Feel what you've been missing. Set yourself free with the most exciting condoms ever made. New Durex condoms for ultimate sensitivity. Now safe sex doesn't have to feel that way. Set yourself free with new Durex condoms. Durex.
Welcome back. We're in the studio today with Trae Crowder, the liberal redneck. Are you surprised at the massive reactions you've gotten from when you started the character?
Yes. Yeah, I'm definitely surprised. I think anybody would be surprised by the level of success from just those, silly YouTube videos or whatever. Like, I mean, I'm a comedian. I've been a comedian for 6 years, and I made them, and I wanted people to watch them, and I wanted people to like them. But anybody says that they expect something like that to get like 25 million views or whatever, like the first one did on Facebook, is lying. So yeah, I was surprised, and I continue to be surprised by the way that it's going. Happy though, surprised in a great way. But I mean, yeah, definitely it was surprising. It is. This has all been a whirlwind for sure, and it still is.
Is there a difference between Trae Crowder and the liberal redneck, or is it all you?
Honestly, the liberal redneck is just me cranked up to 11. I don't walk around like that all the time, as you can see. It'd be pretty hard I would be getting into fights literally everywhere I went if I walked around like that all the time. But I do come from a very legitimately redneck background, undeniably, in my opinion. I've always self-identified as a redneck, even like it wasn't even a whether I like it or not type thing. That's just what everybody I grew up with. That's what we were. Everybody in my family, whatever else. And I also, as long as I've been into politics, period, I've always been on the left. I've always been very liberal. So like I am a liberal redneck. That character, that's just me, like I said, cranked up to 11. So it's not at all like fabricated entirely. It's just an exaggeration of me, which, that's what a lot of comedians do. A lot of times people you see on stage is just, you crank it up a little bit. That's basically all it is.
Do you have any interesting stories from the road? Or anything crazy that you've experienced?
I've got a really awesome story, but what crazy stuff? What do you got? What can you think of that's wild?
Johnson City. That was wild.
Yeah. So we get a lot of liberal rednecks when we do shows in the South, but usually they're more liberal than redneck, but, you know, they're a little bit. But in Johnson City, Tennessee, which is a mid-sized city between like Knoxville and Asheville, North Carolina, there were some straight-up rednecks in that crowd. But they were liberal rednecks. They loved it. They were on board, but, I mean, they were red. There was a lady in there with no shoes on, smoking cigarettes inside. She wasn't supposed to be. And then there was during the show, this guy who's come to a few of our shows, his name's Aaron, and he's something else. He threw a can of pork and beans onto the stage, not like at our heads. He like rolled it and the way he rolled it, Corey, because he's a little jumpy, he literally thought it was a like bomb or grenade of some kind. He was like
at the beginning of the tour.
And it was.
People were like responding to us.
And again, this was a pretty redneck crowd, and so that comes rolling up there, and Corey's like, "Oh God!" But then we realized it was pork and beans, so Corey opened it and then used the lid to eat the beans, and he's actually the mayor of Johnson City now. That's how that works.
That's how it works.
That's how it works. But yeah, that was one of the rowdier shows we've had, but it was a lot of fun. And then the awesome thing I was going to say is we got through all this. We got to hang out with the Drive-By Truckers, who's a literal heroes of ours. It's a southern rock band who's very aligned with us belief-wise or whatever. But we've always looked up to them, and we got to go on their tour bus with them and just hang out and talk about rock and roll and comedy in the South and all this stuff, and that was surreal. It was insanely awesome.
Mm-hmm. What would be your dream performance?
I want to sell out the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
That's my that's where the Grand Ole Opry is.
Yeah.
It's very iconic if you're a Tennessean or just a country music fan or whatever, and so that's my dream venue, I think. Yeah, the Ryman.
Right.
Especially after having just seen Garth Brooks there.
Yeah.
Sweet.
It's a church, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's church in there. You sit in church pews and stuff. It's a very awesome place.
How hard is it being a family man and being on the road like this?
It's hard. It's brutal. I'm not used to that. I've been doing comedy for 6 years, and it was mostly like a weekend. Because I had a day job, so like I go out on weekends or stuff, but not even every weekend. Or if it was every weekend, a lot of times it'd be in and around Knoxville, so I'd still be coming home and everything. So this being gone for stretches at a time is new to me, and I don't like it. I mean, I like it in a lot of other ways, but that particular aspect of it is pretty rough. But I mean, what are you gonna do? My wife's very supportive. This is too big of an opportunity to like not capitalize fully on, and she realizes that, and I do too. So like we both see the necessity of it, but I mean, it's hard.
If you couldn't be a comedian, what would you be doing?
Well, I'd probably be doing the job I had before I came, which I just got this job out of, because I graduated college in 2009, and that was the height of the recession, so it was literally just the first job I could find, and it took me 6 months to find a job, period. But I worked in contracting for the U.S. Department of Energy, and so I'd probably I'd probably do that for 40 years and then retire. I assume, because no joke, comedy and just the being an entertainer is the only thing I've really ever wanted to do. Right. So if I couldn't do what I want to do, it'd just be some fallback thing, and that would have been as good as any other one, I think. So probably just that. But luckily, I'm not. I'm doing this instead. So,
thank God.
Yeah.
And we're going to take a time out from the interview to hear another one of Trae's bits. This is about Kaepernick.
There's only one thing really wrong with this country: Alabama fans. Or at least that's the way it should be, but we've managed to turn even football into a politically divisive hot potato. All anybody wants to talk about is Colin Kaepernick, which as a football fan is something I never thought I would say. Why don't we ask Johnny Manziel what he thinks about the Second Amendment while we're at it? Well, I don't know about no dumbass Constitution, but I believe in the right to bear arms, you know what I'm saying? I've made a lot of bad decisions. While superficially it seems odd that a soon-to-be-released backup for a terrible team could make people so furious, when you boil it down to its core, it makes a lot of sense. A black man refused to stand up for the national anthem as a protest for race relations in America, and a group of people who spent the better part of a year talking about how not great America has gotten were very offended by that. This country's gone to hell, man. Seriously, it's dead to me. Hillary wins, I'm done. I'm gone. I'm just going to move. I just can't believe how shitty America's got. Hey, did you hear about Colin Kaepernick not standing up for the national anthem? Hey, what? Give me my goddamn Facebook. They're so mad at Kaepernick for being disrespectful. Really? That is a hell of a thing for y'all to say to him. I cannot think of a more openly disrespectful group in this country than y'all. Here's a list of things that you routinely and emphatically refuse to respect. The rights and safety of people of other races, the feelings of gay or transgendered children, the belief in any sky man other than your own, any culture that cannot be adequately summarized by a beer commercial, the appetites of your fellow diners at the Shoney's breakfast buffet, the office of the presidency. Yeah, you'll excuse me, but I'm not trying to hear anybody that's ever called Barack Obama the N-word talk about respect. For the record, I do agree with Kaepernick about racism in America, but I don't agree with how he chose to express it, but that's all it was. A peaceful expression of his opinion. So can we please stop with the death threats and the racial slurs and just get back to what really matters? Watching gigantic, freakish men in arbitrarily significant uniforms give each other gradual brain damage for the pursuit of our entertainment? I mean, let's be reasonable.
So what are you most proud of in your life?
Most proud of in my life, I mean, my sons, but outside of that, I don't know. It's a good question. Because I was the first person in my family to ever graduate from college. Pretty proud of that. Other than those two things, it would be just this last 6 months selling out in places like, where was the first place outside the South that we sold out in? D.C. Like, so we go to Washington, D.C. and New York or Denver, very far away from home, and also just outside the South, period. And when you sell out in places like that, that's pretty awesome. And I mean, having written a book, very proud of that, obviously. So yeah, I've got a lot to be proud of recently, which is pretty cool.
What are your plans for the future after this tour?
Me, Corey, and Drew want badly to have our own comedy special. Like, not at all like this, obviously, but, you know, like you've seen the original Kings of Comedy or like the Blue Collar Comedy Tour or whatever, where it's, you know, a comedy special of more than just one comedian, like a themed comedy special. Well, we want one of those. That's what you're going to see tonight is basically that, or what we do, and we want to get a special of that eventually. That's one of our first and foremost goals, but also I've got some things in development, TV projects. They're still a very long way to go, but I want to get those off the ground too. And those are the two immediate things that I want to happen. And then beyond that, just to keep the ball rolling. You know what I mean? But the two in the near term, comedy special and a TV show is what I have my eyes set on.
Any chance for a world tour?
Oh, we'd love to do that. We've talked about that a lot. And it's like this whole tour started from people sending me messages saying, hey, come here, or whatever. And that's when we realized, like, man, maybe we could tour off this. And we have been able to. And I've gotten a few random international messages from people like, hey, you should come to Kent or whatever. And but it's always like literally just one from one place. And it's always some guy, it's like, you know, my mate's got a pub, you know. That'd be fun. But I don't think we're there yet. But yeah, we'd love to do that for sure. So I mean, hopefully, yeah, one day.
Do you have a message for your fans?
I really just thank you. Like, I'm very grateful to them for all that, because I mean, this whole thing's been very, you know, grassroots. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, if it wasn't for my fans, literally none of this would be happening, and I am very aware of that and very appreciative of it. So they literally changed my life, and I'm very grateful to them for that. So thank you.
And we'd like to thank Trae Crowder for coming to the show. We really appreciate you, and keep continuing what you're doing.
Thanks so much. I had a great time.
It was an absolutely wonderful experience being in the same room as Trae Crowder and his two fellow comedians, Corey, Ryan Forrester, Drew Morgan. I highly recommend that you go see the show. If it's coming into a town near you, or even if it isn't, drive over there if it takes 1 to 2 hours or whatever. It is so worth it. And keep looking for that book, The Liberal Redneck Manifesto, Dragging Dixie Out of the Dark. I hope you've enjoyed these 30 minutes with me, and we will be back again next week. And remember, take care of yourselves. This is Maverick Max going in for a landing and signing off.